In this video, we talk about Ticket to Ride San Francisco, one of these games in the Ticket to Ride system with a smaller box and shorter playtime. And the edition that the publisher sent me came in this awesome box here. And when you open it, you think it's a really good box. I'm old enough. When you get old, for some reason, you look at boxes differently and you just had this thought like, what a good box. And so I'm just going to mention this is a good box, at least for us old people. And it came with the game, of course, but it also had a little ticket here, almost like a mini brochure telling us how awesome Ticket to Ride games are. And then some extras with a guide to San Francisco. I had friends living in San Francisco and I actually visited them a couple of times. Lovely city, I really like it. I don't know, next time that I go and my friends are not there, I'll use the guide instead of their expertise. And also a box of San Francisco themed chocolates that, of course, are not here anymore. As for the game itself, Ticket to Ride San Francisco, again, another implementation of the beloved Ticket to Ride system, a system that I like very much. When I teach about games at Indiana University, I always have my students play one of the Ticket to Ride games, both for historical reasons, because Ticket to Ride has been one of the gateway games of the 21st century, has been one of the foundational games in creating today's game culture, and also, so not just historical, but also theoretical, because it exemplifies so many important concepts about game design. And these smaller games are even better in a pedagogical context because, well, I can have the students set them up and play them quickly and easily. So I actually did use this one to introduce new players to Ticket to Ride and to modern board gaming, meaning players who had never played even Catan, never played any modern games, and they were perfectly able to play, enjoy Ticket to Ride San Francisco in under 45 minutes. I played it with my kids who are seasoned gamers by now, although they're 10 and 12. They have been playing, well, since forever, basically, and they still enjoyed it. I personally enjoyed it. I always enjoyed the regular Ticket to Ride also, and I like this new, small, compact, almost expanded filler version. I'm not gonna talk too much about the mechanics because it's Ticket to Ride. So in case you're wondering, what are these smaller games? How is that different? It's a smaller box, it's a smaller map. It plays in 30 to 40 minutes, 45 minutes, depending again on the players and how long it takes them. It's a smaller and shorter version. Mechanically, there is one main difference here from traditional Ticket to Ride games, which is this set of tokens here. They represent different touristic attractions or things that you need as you're going around San Francisco. So you place them in stacks, in matching stacks, hats with hats, Polaroid cameras with Polaroid cameras, backpacks with backpacks. And at the beginning of the game, you place them in specific locations on the board, and they have a red dot. So you have one in Potrero Hill. Essentially, that's where my friends used to live. So when I visited, that's where I stayed. I stayed in Potrero. Oh, you can go to the Embarcadero, to Alcatraz. That's one thing I actually never visited in San Francisco. Golden Bridge Cafe, etc., etc., etc. So you had those 5 locations where you place those. And then there will be 2 more stacks that will be placed on the board by players other than the first. So that's an interesting little mechanism there to create balance and make up for the fact that there's an advantage maybe in going first. And so suppose the last player decides to place this stack of tokens here and the next player decides to place there. Once we play is the Ticket to Ride game system that we all know and love, meaning you're gonna have a line of cards here and during the game you're gonna collect cards, and during your turn your action may be to either collect cards from here and or from the deck, or you can choose to spend cards to create connections here on the board to claim a connection, you need to either have all cards that match that. In the case, for example, we need 3 green, and or a number of wild cards to replace for the missing ones. So by discarding this set of 3, I could claim the connection there. When you claim a connection, you score points immediately, and the longer the connection, the more points you score. When you create a connection, actually, that touches one of these stacks here, suppose that that's the connection I created, then you take one of these tokens if you don't have it yet. So during the game, you're gonna try to collect as many unique tokens as possible. And so again, it's other than that, it's our Ticket to Ride. Collect cards to claim connections. You will start with some of these cards in the game. You can acquire more, and the point is that you're committing to create those connections, to connect those places on the board, because at the end of the game you will reveal these tickets, and if you connected those locations, you score those points. If you have the card you didn't connect it, you lose those points. So sources of points remain: making connections during the game, scoring tickets at the end of the game. But now the new thing is, again, that we also have some extra points that are given to us by those tokens there, and that's how many they are worth. If I have, for example, 5 different tokens, then they are worth 6 points. And this is it. This is Ticket to Ride San Francisco. The beauty and strength of it is that it didn't mess the original idea. It didn't change it enough. The people who love Ticket to Ride will feel that this is something different. It is the game that you probably already know. It is the game that you probably already love, with just one more way of scoring points, which also goes with the general trend that we have in gaming these days. The new expansions tend to add rather than to simplify. As modern hobby gaming has trained its own practitioners, the more games we play, the easier it is for us to learn more games and more complicated games. That seems to be the trend. So what you have here is a game that is smaller physically and shorter than traditional Ticket to Ride, but also has some extra rules, at least one extra rule, one extra wrinkle, one extra way of scoring points when compared to at least the basic game. There are other, of course, iterations of Ticket to Ride that are much more complex, or somewhat more complex than this one. But this is one way. It's excellent to introduce new players to Ticket to Ride or to hobby gaming in general. Excellent to play with your seasoned gaming friends when you don't have the time or the space or to play the big game, or you just want a quicker experience. It is still Ticket to Ride. All of the things that make the original game excellent are here in a smaller package.